the cost of everything now and how much it costs. Like, have you seen how much eggs cost?
It's the eggflation.
Yes. I'm sorry. Credit gives you more leverage, especially if you're looking to up your money game. If you're looking to up your money game and you have ambitious financial goals like myself, cash is not the only thing that's going to get you there. Buying a house, you can have a lot of money in cash, but why, if I have, say I have, I don't know, $300,000 in cash and I'm looking to achieve financial freedom, achieve financial stability. I want to stop working my 9 to 5. Am I going to take that $300,000 and buy one house?
Mm,
No, right? I'm
right.
going to take that and make it the down payment on multiple houses with different type of investment strategies so that all of them can be working. But what am I going to need to do that? Credit.
Right. Welcome, everybody, back to another exciting show of the About That Water podcast. Today, I have the wonderful guest who will help you pretty much buy your first house. This is called, she is the author of the book called Life is Short, Buy the House, the ultimate guide to preparing for home ownership. And because of this lovely book, she also have the 30-day money challenge. And her name is Nia. And how you doing today, Nia?
Hi, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So one of the cool things about I love that you're doing, which is taking people back to your original purchase, your very first purchase, and the reason why you wrote this whole book in the first place. Can you just give some people a little bit of background on what were your thoughts about purchasing your first home?
So my thoughts now or like when I was purchasing it?
Let's go with then when you first purchased.
Okay, so when I was purchasing it, of course, I was excited. You know, back then, everything was about the American dream. And, you know, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to buy a house. So I felt very proud. I was only 27. I was 25 when I initially went to purchase the house. But I felt excited. I felt like, oh, you know, I'm doing this. I felt like, you know, stick your chest out.
Right.
I felt real good about it.
Big boss on the block and everything.
Right, making boss moves. What they call them, boss moves.
Right. So now that you've been in the house for quite some time, what are your thoughts now about making that first purchase?
So the thing about it is, though, I have not been in the house quite some time, because actually that's why I tell the story. I did not prepare for home ownership. I did not build an emergency fund for the what ifs, for repairs and replacements. And thus I bought and lost my first house at the age of 27. So that's the real like meat and potatoes of why I wrote the book. I got injured at work shortly after I purchased, which left me off work on and off for about 2 years between boots and cast and work conditioning and physical therapy and eventually surgery also. So obviously that affected my income. And if anybody knows anything about the workers' comp process, in the beginning, it's not an immediate process. So I didn't have an emergency fund. I was, as they say, I was house poor. I had a house, but I walked away from the closing table without any money. And therefore I didn't have any money to pay my bills in the case that I injured myself at work. Now, of course, I did not know I was going to injure myself 6 weeks after purchasing a home, but you know, life will never stop lifing.
And that's one of the things I do have to say that we miss out on a lot in the financial community, in the personal finance community, is that you hear a lot about, oh yeah, just save your typical 3 months of expenses. But you just shared your story that it took you almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so just as a reminder for those of you who are listening right now, is that when it comes to your personal finances, you need to know your industry. And knowing your industry is meaning knowing how hot that market is. How soon can you find another job from if you were let go today? And so I want to leave you guys with that question as we continue on with Nia's story, because we got to get this first house going. So now that since you lost that house, what was your mindset going into your next venture?
So I lost the house. But essentially at that point, it's like, okay, I guess you could say my finances are in the dumps. So I have to figure out a way to get back on track. After, of course, the shame, the not talking to anybody about it because I felt like, one, making my problems a burden, two, feeling like I needed to take care of it on my own, and then just being ashamed to tell people that I lost the house after 2 seconds ago my chest was just sticking out and I was just popping my collar. Now, so shortly after, now I'm graveling. So I kept it to myself. And what I really was thinking after losing at that point is like, how do I bounce back from this? Like, what's next? Like, how do I pick it back up again and reset my finances essentially?
So what did you do?
So what I did was I moved into a regular apartment. I basically worked with a private landlord because that way it wouldn't be as big of an issue. I had to negotiate, basically saying I'll pay additional month's rent to help you feel secure about renting to me, despite my financial past. And I started from scratch. I had to really work on like what money meant to me. Like, it's not just about budgeting, and it's just not about, oh, okay, you just do this and voila. It was more so of what things, like, why did I go through that full experience and didn't share with anybody? So like, as I wrote in the book, a lot of people, that'll be how I know if they read the book, because a lot of people that I know don't know that I have ever filed bankruptcy or ever foreclosed on the property. So it's more so of I guess you could say, me figuring out, why did I feel like I couldn't tell anybody, or why did I have to just, hoard that information? So I had to work through that process to get a better relationship with money. And then I started from the basics, figuring out how much money I had, what I really wanted for myself in the future, and starting to work through budgeting, figuring out I didn't have as much debt to pay off at the time because I had just filed bankruptcy. So essentially I was starting from scratch at that moment.
Yeah, because was actually flipping through the book, because I haven't got a chance to read it because I was actually reading so many other books, but I did get through some of the things that I thought was interesting, which was the different ways to budget. And one of the things that you put on here was that you forgot to add you to your budget. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really key for a lot of people who are out there who are looking to better their budget or better their financial stability. Can you talk a little bit more about adding yourself to the budget?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So first, let me just say I'm here to stick up for budgets everywhere. I feel like they get a bad rep and they just get abused and they're only the messenger. So I want to say that one of the things that people fail to do when they first start to budget is they only just budget their bills. That's it. And they treat a budget more as something restrictive, something that's going to stop them from being able to do anything they love. They can't have fun. They treat budgeting like it's a punishment. And it's not that. A budget should be all inclusive and not restrictive. Your budget gets jealous when you do something with your money and you don't tell him about it or tell her about it. So one of the things you have to do is, it's okay to do those things, but make sure you put it in your budget. Make sure you put it in your budget, just to make sure that you have an account for where your money is going and you're not out here swiping your life away. And little do you know, you're spending your bill money. And now you've put yourself in a situation that begins a vicious cycle.
Right. And then on top of that, it's like, because you also have those goals as well that you have in mind. Like how you say you're budgeting, you might save up enough because that's what you hear about buying your first home. And then you dump everything over, like all of your savings and everything like that, into the property to that during that closing cost. But I try to get people to think about it as far as your car. If you only got $20,000 in the bank, do you think it's okay to just take $20,000 and buy a car with it, with no money to put gas in it? Because usually they don't give you a full tank of gas when you leave. Like, yeah, we give you half, If you want to pay us $20, we can fill it up for you.
Exactly. And so that's very true also, because I feel like in my case, for example, I got injured shortly after I purchased a house. I have an investment property. I've had to buy last time I purchased, I had to buy a short water heater right after closing because the inspector told me during the inspection that this water heater is probably going to be going out. So essentially, you might have additional purchases for your own house right after you close. And if you don't have any money saved, then you have to move. Moving is not cheap. So that's one of the things I put in the book. Thinking about moving expenses and the cost that it's going to take for you to move, that's another reason to save more than just your down payment. And then closing costs. So there's a lot of different people that are a part of the home buying process, and they're not here for fun. They have to get paid. So all of those fees are going to be a part of your closing costs. So these are the other reasons why I just save for a down payment, or thinking because you got down payment assistance that you don't need to save it's not a good move.
So say if somebody already bought their house and they just found out about the 203K loan process. Can you talk a little bit more about the 203K loan?
So the 203K loan is basically an FHA loan that they give you enough money to purchase the property as well as rehab it. Of course, you have to meet the guidelines. You have to have a contractor that works, that will work within those guidelines, because they have specific draws, which are basically when the money is released to pay them. So you have to find somebody that works within their guidelines. My personal thing is you want to work to estimate those costs. So maybe when you're doing your inspection, you include a contractor that's walking the property with you to give you an idea if this will be something that can get done. Because you got to think about timelines. You got to think about when that is going to be completed. A contractor that's going to stay within those guidelines to meet your deadlines that you need it to be met. You don't want them to still be working on their house. Now you're paying a mortgage for a house that you won't live in for the rest of the year. So you have to look and think about those things. I would say definitely research your contractor and make sure that it's somebody that's going to work well with an investor, somebody that is reputable, of course, licensed, insured, all of those things. Well, they'll have to be to work with FHA anyway, but that's one of the tips I would definitely recommend. And then you also want to research the neighborhood that you're doing this in. So what is your investing goal? Are you investing for cash flow, which basically means that you're investing to bring money in every month? Or are you investing for equity, which means that you're okay if you're not necessarily making a profit every month, but that house is going to appreciate because of the neighborhood that you live in or that you're purchasing in, and you're looking for that future payoff. So, you have different reasons why you purchase real estate and for investing purposes, of course.
So for that person that's out there just starting brand new, they up here like, all right, Nia, I get what you're saying. And we already talked about savings. I'm saving for myself right now because I see that McDonald's ad that just came through. They got the free McDonald's. But what do they do at this point? So they on board. They're ready to start saving for their house because they tired of renting, and they want to move out on their own. What are the type of habits that they should do right now, and what are your thoughts on as far as getting their money together?
So I actually have a 5-step process that I recommend for someone who's preparing for home ownership. Okay, you just decided I want to buy a home. That's my money goal. It's 5 things you're going to do. One thing is, as you said, you got to work on saving. But how do you know how much to save? So you want to think about your down payment, your closing costs. All of those things are percentages of your purchase price. So for closing costs, you can expect to pay 2 to 5%, but it's going to be of your purchase price. Your down payment is going to be a percentage, but it's all based on your purchase price. So that can give you an idea when you know how much home you're going to purchase, how much you need to save for those things. I want to remind you also, there are additional costs that are associated with the home buying process. Inspections, appraisals, attorney fees, closing costs. So I talked about a little bit of the other ones before. So you want to work to build up your emergency fund and I call it a WTF fund. And it means exactly what it sounds like it means, because some things happen and that's the only thing you can say. You want to have money for those. You want to have money for those.
Is that a percentage too, or is that an actual dollar amount?
So that one, I think, is dependent on your lifestyle. So it can be an actual dollar amount, I think is best, but it's going to be dependent on your lifestyle. If you live a luxury lifestyle, obviously yours is going to be a little bit higher. If you're purchasing in a market that's more expensive, obviously yours should be a little bit higher. So it's going to be based on what your current income is and what your expenses look like. And you got to be real with yourself, which leads me to the next step. The next step is create your budget, because you want to decide how much home you can afford. When you go to apply for a home loan, the lender is going to give you a letter called a pre-approval letter. This is the letter that you'll give to your realtor, and this letter lets you know, okay, yes, this person, we kind of looked at their information and they look like somebody we might approve a loan for. So they're saying, yes, we officially say, yes, we possibly would give this person a loan dependent upon further review. So that letter is going to tell you how much home you can buy. That amount is none of your business, because when they are looking at your finances, they're not looking at the fact that you like to travel and you and your soror is going to Dubai next year for your bicentennial. They're not looking at the fact that you got band, choir, theater that your children are in, and you have expenses that are associated with those that you know your daughter goes to the cheer competition in Florida every year. Your lender does not know that. So you don't want to purchase a home and again, skip out on those expenses. So you have to create a budget. Secondly, you want to look at what you're currently doing. If you're not comfortable in your finances now, you're struggling, you get paid and all your money is gone as soon as you get paid and you have no clue where it's gone, but you know you thought you made a decent income, you got to fix that problem first, because buying a house is not going to make that any better. Buying a house is not going to miraculously make you a good steward over your finances. You're going to have to sit down, figure that out, and create a budget for how much home you can afford. And then when you do go to purchase, that's a conversation you have with your lender. This is how much mortgage I can afford every month. And they'll give you a letter based on that. They're not here to make you buy things you can't afford. But if you don't communicate with them, how will they know? Next, you want to start doing some research. You want to research what type of home loan products are out there. FHA is a wonderful loan, but you have to remember FHA itself is not a lender. That's a federal program that subsidizes loans. The actual person giving out the money is the bank, and they are the ones who make the ultimate rules for what happens that they will give that money out to you. So you have to research what are some of the different rules, the down payments, DTI, which is debt to income ratio, which basically they're comparing how much money you bring in per month compared to how much money goes out. They want to know how many people are you already paying? Are you paying them on time? And can you afford to pay them and us too? That's all they're trying to figure out. So this is the reason why you want to do your research and figure out what loan products work best for your financial situation. You want to research your market. Different states, counties, cities have additional laws and rules that would apply to your home buying process. For example, some states require an attorney. Some states do not. Just because they don't require it does not mean that you shouldn't get one. Also, if you're buying somewhere that has an HOA, which is very much popular, like in a lot of the big cities, what are things? So, for example, Florida is known for a lot of HOA fraud. That's something you might want to know if you're purchasing a property with an HOA in Florida. But if you don't research, you won't find that out. So I always recommend researching. Next, choosing your home buying dream team. You want to start following them on social media, finding out about them, finding out, you can get referrals, but you have to remember there's no friendship in real estate. You build relationships, but there's no friendship.
Right. I was actually looking up HOA. So for those of you who are new to the real estate market, HOA stands for the Homeowners Association.
Yes, Homeowners Association. It might be your condo association if you have a condominium, but when you're purchasing and they have a condo association or a homeowner association, and I do have a home buying terms you should know in the back of the book to help you out. You want to make sure they're financially sound. So this is another reason why you should research. You're making sure they're financially sound, because if they're not financially sound and any expense arises, guess who they're going to go to pay for it? So you'll have to pay a special assessment in addition to your home buying dues that you have to pay every month, just because they didn't manage their finances correctly. So you want to look, and if you can find that out before you purchase, it would be fabulous. Next, you want to look at debt elimination. Debt elimination is important because, as I said, they look at how much debt you owe. And you're going to pay debt off differently depending on what your financial goals. So you would pay debt off differently just to boost your credit score than you would pay to purchase a home. You're looking to purchase a home, you want to pay off the debt that has the highest claim on your paycheck. So this might look like a car note if you have a large balance personal loan. Look at any of those things and see, are you able to get them paid off in the next year or two? The reason why is because when you take that claim off your paycheck, that makes you qualify for more home. That makes you more comfortable in your home ownership process because you have a little bit more wiggle room when it comes to paying your monthly bills. So you're not as tight, because you never want to be so tight that you barely can afford to live, because you're going to get discouraged and it's going to start a whole nother mental process for you. So I know that was long, but home ownership is not easy and it's not something to take lightly.
That is true. Especially if you think this is going to be your forever home, which I don't, is that actually a thing? A forever home?
It actually is, but I don't feel like it is as much as it used to be. And that's actually one of the things I talk about in the thing. I talk about single family versus multi-unit. I talk about buying a condo versus buying a single family. And then some of the different things you can do. So investment properties are definitely way more popular now. And it's just so many different things you can use a home for, depending on what that property is zoned for. So different cities have zones that they can say, this can be a residential, this has to be commercial property, this can be a hotel. All of that stuff has to already be set, and you can get more options. Like I've seen regular brownstones turned into dental offices.
Wow.
Where you're literally just going into a property, but it's a dental office there. So it's like you have so many options and things that you can do. Do not think that you only have to buy it as your forever home. But if that's your goal, yes, absolutely. Nice. Maybe you want to leave it to your children.
Now, I noticed that depending on your income as well, you can get certain grants from the county or state. Is there any recommendations on like where could people go to kind of find these particular grants?
All right. Yeah. So actually what I normally suggest, and I tell a search Google, search your BFF Google, put in your city down payment assistance programs, put in your state, put in your county, each one, and put in down payment assistance programs, because you will find them. Next, you can go on social media, follow the hashtag down payment assistance programs, down payment assistance, find out where are the places in your area that teach home ownership. So there's always a nonprofit, or especially if you live in a big city, those are the best places who will be able to have resources. Join their email list, get out there and try to find it. But as you said, sometimes they have income guidelines, sometimes they have credit guidelines, so they might require a higher credit score than your loan requires. Sometimes they have residency requirements, so you might have to stay on the property for at least 5 years. And if you leave before then, part of that down payment assistance is no longer forgivable, and it becomes a loan that you have to pay back. So do your research again.
I like that. So can you tell us a little bit about the Goldman Sachs 1 Million Black Women, Black in Business program?
That program is bomb. So I'm an alumni now of the Goldman Sachs 1 Million Black Women, Black in Business program. I cannot rant and rave about this program enough. It was a phenomenal experience. It's truly changed the trajectory of my business. I highly, 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 highly recommend it. They really work. It's a program specifically, obviously, for Black women, but it was curated for Black women. And I mean that in the sense of every part of it, you will be able to resonate with it. You will feel heard, you will feel seen, and you will feel like the solutions and the resources were created for your specific problems and issues. They really spent the time and energy identifying what troubles and obstacles Black Black women owned businesses go through, and taught us how to navigate those to scale to be a profitable business.
Wow. And if somebody is interested, how would they go about being part of it?
So again, best friend Google. Just Goldman Sachs Black in Business, and the page will come up. I believe there's one more cohort that actually starts next month from the original selection, and then get on their wait list essentially. And then when they open it back up to start doing interviews again, you'll receive an email.
Nice. Now for the going back to the home ownership side of the house. Now, a lot of people, especially like Black and brown people, we might live in these homes, but we don't own them. You know, how was it to get over the notion of, you know, this is possible for the rest of us?
That's a big question. And I feel like it's important. And one of the reasons why my mission of my business is to help individuals to seek and achieve financial stability. I felt myself, I didn't live like we rented during my life. So I purchased a house again, based off me wanting financial stability for me and my daughter as a single parent. It's not easy. I'm not here to tell you just do these 3 things and it's over. A lot of times it is knowing and building up your own self-confidence, your own self-worth. A lot of it is educating yourself. So educating yourself on, if you have something that you're a little bit fearful of, you avoid it because you're uncomfortable around it. Educate yourself. I have plenty of years worth of content, years worth of information out there, solely with the purpose to educate. I have plenty of free resources. Utilize those. This is definitely the information age, and you have a lot at the access of your fingertips. So that's one of the biggest things I think. If you begin to educate yourself more in the process, some of those I feel like, yes, people want to purchase a home. They're scared, like, oh, well, what if this happened? What if that happened? That's one of the reasons why I suggest you research your home buying dream team. So you have a better understanding of them. You find people who are truly advocates for you and not just their wallet. And that will help you secure your purchase. Not saying that everything is going to go perfect with your home, but you'll be better prepared for it if something does go wrong. So honestly, being an advocate for yourself, working to build up your confidence, educating yourself, finding and seeking out people who might already be close to your circle, who have been there wherever you're trying to go, who can help you kind of ease some of those fears, because they can do it. You can do it too.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that grew us, like that drawing both of us together, was because of FinCon. It's like finding people in that same space that talks about the places where you want to go. And
exactly,
I have to say, like, granted, we in 2 different business streams, but the baseline stuff is pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. And because one thing that we always need in every business is the advertisement. The advertisement piece is important. The communication piece is important. The relationships that we build. So say if any reason that, hey, I'm about to buy my first property, I'm sure the first thing you're going to tell me is like, did you read my book yet? Like, instead of just going out there on my own before coming to you, which is one of the things that I love about what you have here, is because you have something that people can actually go to. It's a lot easier before they come to reach out to you. It's to utilize the resource, and you poured everything into this thing. Even though it doesn't seem like it's a thick book, it's less than 140 pages. But it has so much information in here, even visual diagrams and so forth. So again, the book is called Life is Short, Buy the House, the ultimate guide to prepare for home ownership. But what ultimately, is there like another sequel to this? Do you think you're done? This is a one and done book? What's the deal?
Oh, so no, it's not a one and done. I actually have my next 3 book titles already in my head. Wow. Yeah. Like there's levels to it. So I actually, of course, since I help first-time home buyers, I had a lot of homeowners like, okay, well, what about us? What should we be doing once we're already in the house? So not like it's not, I'm not going to lie to you, it's not on the docket for 2023, but I'll bring out a book that will help people who are already in the home. Maybe you're in the home already, but you're still seeking to get financial stability to make sure you can stay in the home, because that's my goal. The purpose of it is to help you prepare for home ownership. I don't want to just help you get the house. I want you to stay in the house. You leave when you want to leave, not because somebody telling you it's time to go. So yes, I do have another book that I would like to write. Maybe that'll be a 2024 project about people who are already homeowners and what they can do that they're already there.
Nice. Yeah. So can we talk about we're going to go and move on to the third segment, which is talking about the features. So what skills or habits do you feel that would that you think you will need to go to that next level?
One, you have to be okay with delay. And I know that sounds like a soundbite, but it's the truth. You have to be okay with delayed gratification. That's a huge process. It's something that is going to take, I talk about it all the time, that financial stability and the journey towards it is a self-awareness journey. You're not going to correct your financial habits until you learn more about yourself. You're going to have to learn about yourself and learn why you have the financial habits you have in order to work to improve them. So being okay with delay, working on consistency. Nobody says you have to be perfect. Practice only makes progress. So working towards being consistent. Don't have to be every day, all day, but at least every week, make a step towards your financial goals. So if you can do that and you break your big goals down into micro goals, sometimes that makes them more attainable. It gives you small wins, like that snowball method, and it helps you achieve them more, and it helps you achieve more goals. I'm sorry, but change up your circle. Sometimes your circle is part of the problem. Your network determines your net worth. If you're around 5 people who are not seeking any improvements in their life and they're happy where they are and not working towards any goals, you're going to be the 6th. But if you're around, as we talked about with FinCon, when you find your tribe of people that are working to excel, it's an amazing feeling and it motivates you. I have like an accountability call with somebody I met at FinCon. We meet every single week at 7:30 on Thursdays. And we just had ours this Thursday. And I swear we got off that call. It was like, oh, I'm feeling pumped up about my business. So it's like when you find people, and not saying you have to completely cut everybody off and be mean to anyone, or, you have to find those people that are going to help you excel and help you get to the next level and help you stay motivated. And it's just easier when you have people who are along the same path. Does not have to be the exact same industry or the exact same financial goals.
That is amazing, because I actually have now that you mentioned it, I do have a monthly meetup with people from FinCon just to talk about the financials aspects for my businesses. But it's a local meetup, so we can actually try to do like physical meetups when the weather gets warmer. But so I mean, maybe by the time this comes out, the weather will be a lot warmer. But for right now, it's like 40 to 30 degrees, and I like to stay inside. Right now.
I hear you. It's 27 here.
Oh geez, yeah, y'all keep that.
I'm in Chicago, so we've had a good run. We have to accept it. Chicago is still going to be Chicago.
Right. Yeah. By the way, ultimately, you gotta find your tribe. It's nothing like it. Even if they don't have to be your friends, like your everyday friends or whatever, but the people that are okay listening to your ideas and where you want to go, it's so relieving. And
they support them.
Yes.
They don't have to understand them. They don't have to share them. They're just supporting them. One of my best friends is a crafter. I have maybe one creative bone in my body. But I know about crafting because I listen to her. I support her. I don't have to share it.
Right.
It's not for me to share. It's not my journey for me to understand. But I can still support her in her journey and what she wants to do without understanding, without sharing it. And that's the type of tribe you need to find.
Yeah. Even friends. Yeah. Even with your friends or family, if they can't even just repost anything on your page, it's like,
So I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that one. I
Okay,
don't
you
know if I
over
agree with that one. Nah, I gotta. And hear me out. This is why.
Okay.
Everybody is not your customer, and the people who will be on their timeline might not be your
Mm,
customer also. So it might not help you any at all for them to share with it, simply because if they're not active on social media, them posting it is not going to do anything for you. Secondly, if their social media is full of people who's not going to be interested in your business, because the goal of a business is to create customers and create returning customers.
mhm.
So if their friends and family or whoever is on their social media, it actually might be a bad thing that they let them know about your business, depending, because you might get these people coming to your business now who are not going to purchase. They're going to come ask you for discounts. They're going to come ask you to do this for free. They're going to come ask you to hook them up about this and hook them up about that and bring headache to your business. So I personally feel like I want people to share my stuff because they want to share it, and I want them to purchase from me because they want to purchase, because you want, your genuine customers, because that's the person who's going to go be an advocate for your business. Like, see the way I talked about that 1 million Black women program. I would rant and rave about that program for free. I would pay to do a commercial so that more Black women can take advantage of it. Right. That's the kind of people you want, and that program taught me that.
Right. Hey.
Like, seriously, everybody sharing it does not necessarily mean that it's going to help your business. You want people who want to do it. It actually kind of messes up your numbers, because now your numbers are based on these people who are just tire kicking.
Right. So, yeah, because I'm thinking about even from the email perspective, when you go to send it out, it's like, what is your click rate? What is your open rate? And so forth. And then you realize, okay, your open rate isn't great, but nobody's purchasing
anything,
clicking on any of the links or anything like that. So it's
exactly. You want your true fans on your email list, on your page, following you, because those are the people who are going to purchase and they're going to advocate for you. You want your customers to turn into your best advocate, like telling everybody, oh, have you seen Anthony? Oh my God, this man is like, that's who you want. That's what I want.
I got you. I know we went off the rails a little bit for talking about the housing side of the house, because we could talk business all day.
All day long. I could talk money all day long. Like.
Yeah, we can talk money. Speaking of money, because before we get to the 4 questions, you put in here about we always hear about cash is king, but you said that credit is king. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
So yes, I feel like cash is king back in the day.
Right.
The cost of everything now and how much it costs. Like, have you seen how much eggs cost?
It's the eggflation.
Yes. I'm sorry. Credit gives you more leverage, especially if you're looking to up your money game. If you're looking to up your money game and you have ambitious financial goals like myself, cash is not the only thing that's going to get you there. Buying a house, you can have a lot of money in cash, but why? If I have I don't know, $300,000 in cash, and I'm looking to achieve financial freedom, achieve financial stability, I want to stop working my 9 to 5. Am I going to take that $300,000 and buy one house? No, right? I'm going to take that and make it the down payment on multiple houses with different type of investment strategies so that all of them can be working. But what am I going to need to do that? Credit.
Right.
So I can have all the cash, but what am I going to need and actually to take myself to that next level? I'm going to need credit. If I'm opening the Airbnb business, do I want to go purchase all of that furniture out of my own cash and hold up my cash?
Right.
No, I want to purchase it on credit. And then as my payments start coming in from my people staying in my Airbnb, I'm going to send that money straight to that credit card and pay it off. Nice. So to me, depending on your financial goals. Now, if your financial goals, then maybe cash might be king for you. But for me, looking to level up, cash is not going to take me there. I mean, not the way. I don't have a rich uncle. All of my stuff I have bootstrapped it, and I might have done whatever a little bit level lower than bootstrapping to get where I got, because I had to literally get it out the mud. So for me, cash is not going to be able to get me there because I don't have access to enough of it without credit.
And just to add on there, because one of the things that I utilize credit, which is easy, those balance transfers to your bank account with 0% interest for 18 months. Some of them will do 24 months, but you need that your DTI to be low so that you can go ahead on and, take advantage of those opportunities that credit will allow you to.
Right. And unless you have a decent credit, you're not getting zero transfer balance cards. You have to have a certain quality of credit to get those type of things.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, cool. Ready for the 4 questions?
Okay.
We could just dive into all that stuff.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm ready.
Number 1, what does wealth mean to you?
Ooh, wealth means to me country hopping.
Mm-hmm.
Wealth means to me the ability to give back and do for others and make a bigger impact in the community and possibly make changes in the community. Wealth to me, honestly, the same thing like money. It's a tool. Mm-hmm. It's just like a hammer or a wrench or something in my toolbox. It's something I can use to achieve what I want for myself.
Like it. Number 2, what was your worst money mistake?
Ooh, I have so many. I've created all the money mistakes. I have. Like I tell people all the time, I'm very transparent about it. I have created a lot of them. That's why I'm able to talk about them and try to help people not do what I did. Mm-hmm. My worst money mistake? I don't know. I can't say taking so long because it's a process. So I went through different stages of learning about money. My worst money mistake? It might not even be financial. It's keeping it to myself and not sharing with others the problems I was having financially.
I like that. Mm-hmm. You're the first person I actually thought about it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest money mistake because I could have possibly gotten help sooner. I could have possibly learned about more resources sooner if I just stopped being hyper independent.
Right. I always ask people for their opinions, so I'm like,
That's good. That's a good thing, though. But it does include you having to have a circle around that you can trust.
Yes.
But if you do have one and you're choosing not to share it with them, it could be to your detriment.
Got it. All right. Number 3, what is your favorite financial or non-financial book?
My favorite financial or non-financial? Of course, my favorite book is mine.
Of course. Right.
No, my favorite financial or non-financial book. I actually don't read a lot of non-financial books. You know what? Yes, I do. I have one. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That book is the key to life.
Okay. You said the key.
It is. No, seriously, because we spend so much time and so much energy worrying and stressing over things when you absolutely can't give about everything.
Yeah.
You can't. You have to pick and choose because if you don't pick and choose, you're going to stress yourself out, which stress causes so many mental and health issues, which causes so many mental blocks. And just that alone creates so many problems in your life when you can't do anything about it.
Right.
So to me, that's my favorite non-financial book.
Okay. Is there a book that you'll recommend the people to use as a supplement guide to your book?
So depending on what level of homeownership you want to go into, if you're looking to be a real estate mogul, I suggest this book, which it's a Bigger Pockets book. And if you're into real estate, Bigger Pockets is a wonderful podcast. A lot of great, let me see.
For you who are listening on the audio side, it says how to
invest in real estate. So this is the ultimate beginner's guide to getting started. This book goes through a lot of the different investing strategies. It talks about a lot of the different funding strategies, which is very important because when you begin to become a real estate investor, you no longer will be getting mortgages. Like they only allow you to get so many mortgages. So you have to get creative with your financing. And a lot of these things we just don't know exist. Black and brown people, we don't know that a lot of these seller financing where you don't have to get a loan at all. The person who's selling the house finances it and you just pay them directly. There's no mortgage involved. You all make an agreement between you. So that's a wonderful way that a lot of people would be able to avoid the credit, but you have to have some skin in the game and they know that you're going to pay them back. So you kind of need the foundation first. But this book is a good, I guess you could say, Bible to getting started if you want to get into real estate investing.
Nice. And I was actually just watching a video about that too. Where the guy was just asking somebody like, hey, you see you had this house on sale, and they talked about it and kind of found out the person only needed $7,000 to move because they got to move their family and everything like that. So the guy only paid $7,000 and then paid $3,000 for the closing costs, which is like his attorney and everything like that, because they want to make sure that when they sign a document, that agreement, that this is going to take over that mortgage. Not take over it, but continue to pay the guy until the mortgage is paid off.
So that's a subject too.
If we do wholesaling, right?
So that's, I don't want to get too deep. So okay, wholesaling is basically you are selling an assignable contract. So say we talk and you say you're going to sell me your house. I can take that interest that you agree to sell me your house and sell that interest and have somebody else buy it. And then they pay me a fee. That's wholesaling. Subject 2 is when I take over your mortgage. Mm-hmm. Seller financing, you don't have a mortgage. I'm paying you directly for this house as a way for you. You might be retiring and liquidating all of your properties. This gives you a monthly income coming in. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. It's so many different ways to invest in real estate. It's a playground. But if you don't know a lot of those different resources and abilities and strategies exist, you know.
Yeah, we have to bring you back on and talk about all the cool strategies that do exist so we can at least get something in there.
It's a lot. It's a lot of them. That's what I'm saying. But you don't know they exist.
Yeah. We can talk about probably the top 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because there's some other ones where you can buy like the contracts on the mortgages in the back end. That's like the Wild West. Yeah. Not too many people talk about that though. I think I've maybe come across like 2 podcasts that talk about it.
Yeah. I don't know as much about that one though with the back end.
Yeah. They be doing some weird stuff.
Exactly.
so many weird things. All right. The 4th question, which is, what is your favorite dish to make?
Oh, my favorite dish to make. I don't know. Honestly, my daughter's grown, so I'm not a big cooker. So I'll tell you what I'm normally requested to make. So I'm normally requested to make baked spaghetti. I'm the mac and cheese person. So yes, I got the.
Okay.
Yes, I'm the mac and cheese lady for the holidays. I think that's the main 2 dishes I'm always asked to make when we have functions.
Nice.
Oh, and the sweet potato pies. Sorry, sweet potato pies.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Might have to make a trip over to Chicago one day.
Let's go.
I'll pay just the taxes because credit is the new king. So
exactly. So you can use your points. And that's the thing too. You're spending the money every month. Anyway, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, no. On a tangent. The very last question of the show, which is, where could people find out more about you?
Oh, you can find out about me, of course, on my website, which is www.perspectiveschange.com. On Instagram and Facebook, Money Perspectives. And then on TikTok and YouTube, Nia's Perspectives.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you again so much for coming on the show, Nia. For you who are listening and those of you who are watching on YouTube, please make sure you take a moment, obviously, to like, subscribe, and share this episode with anybody that you found, especially if you found this episode appealing. And go ahead on and take a look at her book. They do have a couple sample pages on Amazon. And go ahead on and go to Life is Short, Buy the House, the ultimate guide to prepare for home ownership. All right, everybody. I want to thank you so much for coming through. And Nia, it's been a pleasure as always.
Thank you for inviting me.
Anytime.
Happy to be here.
Yep. All right. I'll take it out. Peace.